This week in the news, Nintendo sued, PlayStation requires age verification for online features, Pragmata's attacked, and more on Old Man Rages at the News. Before we get into the news, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you enjoy the content. And we're kicking off this week with a lawsuit. Nintendo is getting sued by gamers to get tariff money back. Just as a reminder, I am not a lawyer, I've never been to law school, nor have I talked with a lawyer about this. This is just a layman viewpoint and is no way a legal advice. So, Nintendo customers from California and Washington are suing Nintendo to get tariff refunds from the company. Both of the customers filed a proposed class action complaint in the United States District Court's Western District of Washington on Tuesday. They want the court to force Nintendo to pass along the money it's likely to receive from US customers and border protections throughout the newly opened tariff refund portal. The plaintiff's lawyer wrote in the complaint, "In particular terms, Nintendo stands to receive a windfall. It has already recouped tariff loss costs from consumers through higher prices and now stands in line to recover the same unlawful tariff payments from the federal government." And if you all remember, tariffs were imposed before pre-orders were supposed to be open for the Switch 2 console. The console did remain the same price, but some accessories for both Switch and Switch 2 were increased alongside the original Switch console. The lawyer also wrote, "Nintendo now seeks to recover from the government duties whose economic burden was borne in whole or in part by plaintiffs and class members." Now, this just needs a judge to confirm its class action status before it can move forward, and if it does move forward, it could include anyone in the US who purchased goods from Nintendo during the period of the 1st February 2025 throughout February 24, 2026, in which Nintendo raised prices. Now, do I think this will happen? I mean, it's 2026, crazier things have happened this year so far. If this gets confirmed as a class action lawsuit, or just fizzles out, I wouldn't be surprised either way. Moving on, Square Enix yet again shut down another Japanese content creator for allegedly harassing the Final Fantasy XIV staff. To give some context on the previous time they did, Square announced that it would take action against the admin of the Japanese news blog, Netoge Sokuho, for publishing articles that damaged the reputation of staff and executive. And after the site's provider disclosed the identity of the anonymous admin, Square reached a settlement in which the admin agreed to pay an undisclosed fee, publish an apology, then shut down the site. Now, Automaton reported that Square Enix is doing the same thing, but this time with a content creator who posted a video. According to the announcement on the 20th of April, they took legal action in response to multiple videos that constituted harassment towards its executives and employees. They identified the user who posted the video, got them to apologize for their action, paid an undisclosed sum as compensation, and was prohibited from performing similar actions in the future. Now, in both cases, I have no idea what was said to begin with, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was some sort of threat of violence, especially as this is the Final Fantasy XIV community and part of the player base has some questionable common sense, let's put it like that. Also, this is the internet after all, so I won't be surprised either way. Now, the thing is, the user Wetfish Slap alleged that he saw clips about the video and stated it was mostly just the creator making rant videos about what they didn't like about the latest story patch and how lazy and incompetent the developers were. He criticized and name-dropped some of the more well-known members of the dev team like Naoki Yoshida and Uematsu, which is a big no-no in Japan after the KyoAni arsons. Now, this comes from Reddit, and I can't exactly confirm it since I haven't seen the original video, so take this comment with a grain of salt. In other news, Xbox lowered its price for Game Pass after increasing the price in October 2025. Finally, they did something good. They decreased Game Pass Unlimited from $20.99 to $22.99, and they did it also for PC Game Pass, dropping it down from $16.49 to $39.99, and they specified that prices may vary between regions. They also pointed out future Call of Duty titles won't join Game Pass at launch. New Call of Duty games will be added to the Game Pass during the following holiday season, so roughly about a year later, while existing Call of Duty titles already in the library will continue to be available. Not only that, but they also scrapped Microsoft Gaming. According to The Verge, Sharma announced that Microsoft is returning to Xbox for its gaming division instead of Microsoft Gaming. And to quote her, Xbox needs to be our identity. And further on noted that Microsoft Gaming was a departure from that. And in my honest opinion, they're just trying to distance themselves from Microsoft because of how toxic the discourse is around it. Rightfully so, might I add. Additionally, the former Halo exec and Xbox film and TV lead Kiki Wolfkill also left Microsoft. This came from her LinkedIn page, and if you want to have a read, feel free to pause the video or it's gonna be in the sources. In other news, PlayStation now requires verification for some online features. Boy, am I glad I'm a Steam user. This came from a new email from Sony themselves revealing a new age verification requirement for its users to continue using communication features. Well, PvP games be damned, I guess. The goal of this mistake is to provide, quote, safe, age-appropriate experience for players and families while respecting privacy and meaningful control over their gaming experience. Yeah, because apparently a mute button isn't enough for some people. Insider Gaming even provided a screenshot of the email. At the very least, this is to come later this year, so if there's enough pushback on this, PlayStation users might not have to verify. Or, let's be real, Sony's gonna bury its head in the sand and still do it anyways regardless of the backlash. Then you find out later down the line that some maniac managed to hack their servers and grab the verified data because they had the bright idea to store it on one of their servers. Or I'm just being delusional. But Sony, they're unhackable, right? In other news, the New Vegas writer said Bethesda lectured him over the 30 FPS promise in Fallout New Vegas. What the hell did I just read? Why would the writer be lectured over this? Oh, he was a senior writer and lead game designer. Now it makes sense. Chris Avallone sat down in an interview with TKS Mantis on YouTube and recalled a moment when Bethesda lectured him over a 30 FPS comment made during the pre-launch interview for Fallout New Vegas. At the event, Avallone sat down for an interview about the game Cryo engine. Someone asked him, "Hey, is New Vegas gonna run at 30 frames per second?" To which Avallone recalled the moment, "In my mind, it's inexcusable that a game would not run at 30 frames per second." So I said, "Yes, it will." And to my surprise, I'm in this Bethesda meeting and this tech director starts lecturing me saying, "You shouldn't have said that." And I'm sitting there taking it. And all I'm thinking in the back of my head, why do you have a bleeping engine that can't run 30 frames per second? And then call that your claim to fame? And you're the director of technology? It was so offensive to me. I sat there and I smiled and took it. But overall, that in itself was one fundamental flaw of the technology there. Man's got a point, cause if a game, even by 2010 standards, it should at least run decently. But technically he is correct. The game ran at 30 FPS, just not during the 2010 era, since the article talked about choppy frame rates during the time. You think that you will optimize your engine based on technology available at the time, but then again, common sense is not so common. Honestly, I wasn't expecting to talk about this game, but here we are. Pragmata managed to surpass 1 million units sold in 2 days. Yes, it took just 2 days for a that sim game to get there. And sadly, that's where the good stuff ends, because we can't have nice things according to some people with questionable mental capacity. The first thing that happened is that Capcom made a Twitch emote called Cryana, which showed Diana's face with a crying expression, which resulted in some quote-unquote fans to claim that the badge intentionally references an obscure online meme for anime communities and accused Capcom of using it as pedo bait. Now, I understand what they're referring to, but I don't see it not one bit, mate. Are they projecting? Probably. Now, one quick pit stop to Reddit though, cause this is also, for lack of a better word, crazy, since a dude got his post removed from r/PlayStation for saying that Pragmata was a wonderful game. That wasn't the only post that had this happen to it. Sadly, this is just another case of Reddit mods having a power trip because they can't get out of the basement. The dude literally posted a question asking why are the posts being removed, and that post also got removed. Talk about being miserable. And not to be left behind, X also had a field day throwing wild ass accusations that if I were to cover in this episode, well, would be at the very least an hour long. So instead, I'll cover what Hassan, 10,000 volt spiker, said. And yes, I'm shocked that he stopped zapping his dog and started talking about games.
In any case, what is this? Capcom's Pragmata. Wait, did it come out already? Pragmata, it's making thousands of people suddenly want to start a family. You play as Hugh, a soldier, stranded on a ruined lunar research station. His job is protecting the childlike android Diana while fighting rogue AI. It's out already? Is it good? Isn't this like Death Stranding? In one emotional moment, she gives him a crayon drawing of the two of them together as a little family. Even streamers who say at the start they didn't want kids end up breaking down happy in tears. So what's really interesting about this is all of these unfuckable losers in the gaming sphere always talk about like starting families and stuff. And I don't understand like why this has become a thing that they care about. Like, if you're a gamer, you should care about things that you actually experience. You should care about things that you actually enjoy, right? If you're a fucking lonely gamer who has never been around a woman and will never have sex with a woman, why do you care? Like, why do you care about having children or like riding for having children? Like, if they changed hot Cheetos, if they changed the recipe of hot Cheetos, if they changed the recipe of like, I don't know, Dr. Pepper or something, and you fucking freaked out about that, that makes sense, right? Like, that's precisely what your life is about. But as far as like LARPing about starting families and whatnot, this is something that I never understand. It just doesn't make any sense to me because it's just not something that you're going to experience ever for your life, for the rest of your life, right? Also, I will say, Japanese game, putting a child in there, you're playing with fire, okay? Don't get mad at me for saying this, but I feel like any Japanese game you put like a child, it's gonna invite maybe the worst possible fandom, you know? I know it's not like that. I'm sure the game is not like that, but there will be people who take it like that.
You talked for 2 minutes and I nearly fell asleep. Did I hear him end it with a crazy ass pedo accusation again? Yeah, certainly sounded like it. Hassan also self-reported on the idea of starting a family. Like, dude, that's the most vanilla things to do, and here you are not understanding it. Makes you wonder if he tried Kaya's collar on some spots of his body. Or maybe his girlfriend told him, "You ain't getting none of that ass anymore if you want a family." And, in a classic Reddit mod moment, LSF removed the take you just listened to, and the mods claimed that it was supposedly out of context. Classic Piker move right there. He also quote-unquote addressed the clip played, but as you can see, he quoted basically 90% of what Hassan said. You can see it's a whole lot of nothing, and I don't feel like falling asleep in the middle of recording again. If you want to check it out, go ahead, but just keep in mind, some might say it's out of context. This clip though has to be arguably the biggest own of the whole topic.
Like, that's precisely what your life is about. But as far as like LARPing about starting families and whatnot, this is something that I never understand. It just doesn't make any sense to me because...
Speak of the angel. How are you doing? Can I have a big hug?
Yeah,
Mwah. How you doing?
good.
What's up? Oh, hold on. I need to full screen this. Hold on. Man, this is good timing. We were just talking about you. Well, not really, but
Okay, so I made
they
you
can't
the
see
flower.
you. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I love that. I can have this?
Yeah, and fortune teller.
Oh, it says this is just like the game. Look, she made me. It says to Dad from Andrea. I did not tell you to do this. You just did this on your own.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dad,
Oh my God.
fortune tellers like origami I used to make.
Uh-huh.
Look it, I made this humongous.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, one sec. Made a humongous one.
That's amazing. Does it go with like a rhyme or a poem when you do the 1, 2, 3, 4?
You gotta pick one, and then
Okay. That
usually they have like colors and numbers, and then you go, okay, what number? And then
2.
go. And then 1,
Okay.
2.
Aw.
You pick another one, and then that's your fortune when you unfold it. Wait here, it tells you your fortune, but I have no fortunes.
Not yet. You have to add
Not
those.
yet.
That's amazing. I love this so much. Oh my goodness. Mwah.
Love you.
Love you too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Can I put it up?
Yeah.
Okay. Where should I put it?
There's a lot.
How about right here?
Sure. What above the other flower?
Oh yeah. Okay. I don't want to hide that one. We'll put it here.
It's already hidden because
True.
you get
true.
too much
Yeah.
monies.
Yeah. Too much monies.
Hey, not
Oh.
for too much. You'll spend it on me.
Right.
And you too taxes.
Exactly. I love you.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you so much again. That was so sweet. Aw. Have a good night.
Good night. Bye, Dexter.
That was not planned. That life is funny, isn't it? Like, holy shit. The timing of that was definitely something. Wow. Anyways, back to this asshole that wants to tell you not to have that in your life. Let's listen to this definitely super happy guy that's not lonely and miserable. Let's listen to what he has to say about.
It's just not something that you're going to experience ever for your life, for the rest of your life, right?
Yes, Hassan does not understand the joy of fatherhood or the urge to be a father. Such a sad existence. And to wrap up the week, a bunch of Quickfire news. Hopefully Quickfire. Windrose managed to sell 1 million copies in 6 days. The game is growing at quite the pace. First they sold 500,000 copies in 48 hours, and now it's 1 million. What's next? Next week I'm covering the 2 million copies sold mark? Anyways, in other news, Shuhei Yoshida said Jim Ryan fired him from PlayStation Studios, and to quote him exactly, because I didn't listen to him. Cool, we have some office drama. The PlayStation veteran introduced himself and talked about how he helped make God of War Unchained and a few other games. To quote him, but in 2019, after 11 years leading the first party development, I was fired from the role. Jim Ryan wanted to remove me from first party because I didn't listen to him. He asked to do some ridiculous things, and I said no. What a way to shoot yourself in the foot. He did also say he is free to show up in any podcast and talk about Nintendo, Xbox, Steam, so we might see him again in future episodes. And continuing the trend of stupidity in this episode, Nexus Mods did something stupid. Shocking, I know. They removed a Marvel rival Cloak and Dagger elf mod and told the designer to stop asking questions. Nexus Mods, doing other mod sites a solid by pushing people to go to them. That would never happen now, would it? On a side note, I have no idea how Fandom Pulse managed to write such a long-ass article for such a small thing, but oh well. Let's summarize that real quick. We can see one of the mods in this case. It's someone called Murden. Removed the mod because it was allegedly inappropriate content. And when the mod maker contacted the mod directly via Discord, the mod told the mod maker to email support and told him, "We're not talking about your moderation action here. Stop pushing it." Oh, and by the way, from what is shown, the mod is perfectly fine. It doesn't look like it's gonna break TOS or anything. Regardless, in other news, Japanese and anime film giant Toei enters the game business with the Toei Games label. Oh boy, even more grueling hours in the office for some people. The early lineup for Toei Games will be brand new IPs that they are supposed to foster from scratch. Yeesh, another tall order for said employees. Now, we do have 3 games shown. Those are Hino, Killa, and Debug Nefheme. And I most likely butchered the names. Now, all of them are gonna be available on Steam, and Hino is supposed to be released this year. The other 2 don't have a release date. And in other news, Ubisoft also cancelled Altera, which is an Animal Crossing inspired game. There weren't any layoffs announced due to the cancellation though, so people kept their jobs. But that does mean that the nearly 3 years they spent making the game were thrown out the window. And in what could be described as a questionable decision, an indie dev's trailer got pulled from BAFTA at the last minute. The reason? Well, they cited well-being of our guests. The title alone makes them a bunch of dicks, but this is not r/am I the asshole, so I ain't gonna pass judgment. You lot can. And the game in question, The Quiet Things. It's an autobiographical narrative adventure inspired by developer Alex Jones's childhood memories with themes of childhood abuse, self-harm, and suicide. A trailer of the game was to be aired during BAFTA's Game Awards ceremony, but it was pulled the evening before the event. The BAFTA spokesperson said, and I quote, "We made a complicated decision not to show a trailer for an unreleased game that contains themes that may be a trigger for some, in consideration for our guests, as we were not in a position to sufficiently warn them. We fully support games that engage with difficult subjects, and we made the decision in relation to our event only and with the well-being of all guests as our priority." Now, Jones claims to have made cuts in the trailer based on BAFTA's feedback, removing scenes that contain weapons and violence. Even when offered further changes, they got nothing back. Yeah. My money is on them thinking it's the other Alex Jones on the internet that for the game, and they were like, no. In other news, Dead by Daylight studio Behavior Interactive had layoffs. The number of employees are undisclosed, and a spokesperson told game developer that the studio had eliminated some roles with demand for mobile and casual external development projects in decline. To quote the representative, A portion of Behavior Interactive's business had traditionally focused on external development partnerships. In recent months, demand for mobile and casual external development projects had declined. As we continue our remaining engagements and do not foresee comparable opportunities in the near term, we have made the decision to part ways with some colleagues. Those decisions are never easy, and we are grateful for the contributions of the affected employees who have helped shape behavior and support our partners over the years. And to put it in a layman's term, their PC games are safe for now. And on that note, that'll be all for this week. Tune in next week for more Old Man Rages at the News.